Maayong gabi.
Matod pa ni Jobo. Makatakod gaw.
Nakatakod.
Imong huhoy.
Hi.
How's it going?
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
All right. What's happened? What happened?
Well, episode 5 happened.
Oh, yes, that happened.
Salamat sa mga nag-view sa video.
True.
Naminaw. I mean, makes our heart full that, at least, you were, especially those that I mentioned sa podcast that you really, you think that it's true at the same time, you had fun. Yeah. The same way we had fun doing it.
Yeah. And as always, thanks, Guy, for, tagging the people who were in it.
Yeah.
The Teacher Lenny also commented. I think Sir Bong
did.
Sir Bong did. And
si Jobo sent us a message. I'm glad that there was no beef. It was totally just out of just pure joy. Na, and the katawas at si Queenie na all of that happened.
Yeah.
So,
that was
all good.
That was great.
It's all good.
Matod palagi ni Kai, we were too kind in butan na do kay kita
I
when
guess
we were
the term was butan na kaita.
when we were answering the batch bingo game. But yeah, I think that was, I mean, right from the start of this podcast, we agreed that we will be reminiscing people and give praise to the people who were meaningful to us and who had an impact on us.
Correct. It was one of those ground rules that we established.
Exactly.
So that we probably want that said or thought about ourselves also. I mean, there are times when you could probably out there, there's a lot of like things that are negative that can be talked about you, but we've got no time for that. So So I guess that's where we're at.
It's juicier, definitely, to
more
talk
controversial.
about. More controversial if we talk about controversial things and people in
we would
high
do
school.
it for the clout, but that's just not how we are. Yeah.
True that. What else is going on this week? Oh this Friday will be the advanced birthday celebration of Baby Bird.
Baby B. Rookie year. Very nice concept, by the way. This whole,
I mean,
who came up with that?
I think it's his father or
Father. His
father.
Father.
Yeah, it's his dad who came up with the idea of
Ian Kabayan. We call him Ian Kabayan.
Getting into sports. We had our photo shoot for Baby B last Friday.
Interrupt kita ka no na.
No, not last Friday. Saturday.
While we were talking about the order, and then you said, "Tayo lang, hey, go photo shoot." You were multitasking.
No, that was fine. It was fun because I got to see him smashing a cake for the first time. That was fun to see, and
so,
he got really into it.
Motor skills activated, so he can go from 1 to 100. So as boys would.
So the cake was shaped in a basketball ball.
I told you,
and he was slapping the shit out of it.
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash niya, and he was good. Slapping into it. But
it's good, right?
Yeah, it was good.
And he knows it's a ball, so he's probably seen it somewhere na dapat niya siya i-dribble.
And then his mother was like, okay, you're gonna eat this cake, but you can't get through the icing, so amo pa siyang giukab gamay. And then he went for it, and then he ate it.
To give him a clear opening. Yeah.
And and paguman, we were when we went home, he smelled icing all over the whole day he was here. I think Shane licked his
hands.
No, not his hands. His cheeks.
His face.
His face at one time.
I'm sure she did.
And he tasted icing. But it was cool.
So you saw him. From when he was born till his birthday by Friday, it's just, I think I've really seen you in terms of like glow, in terms of like as an uncle, as this is another guy in the family.
Yeah,
he's gonna go through all of those, and we're gonna try to prevent him from going through all the crap we went through at some point. But he'll have to, sort of go through that. But
it's funny because.
That's another boy, It's just like...
my wife and I talked about um, what went, um, how did 2021 went by so fast,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we were talking what happened really this year, and we could pinpoint, Shane and I doing our masters together,
Hmm.
me getting into a new gig, a new work starting in April,
Yeah. Correct.
and we realized that the major thing that happened was Baby B coming in back in
Yeah.
November
Coming
last
into
year.
your lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And ever since then, we've been really taking care of him. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, God bless his parents
Parents.
for
Yeah.
making sure he has the attention and the love and the care 24/7.
Shout out to Anit's first
Neat.
time mom.
Yeah, and the best feeling for being the uncle and the auntie is to have him during the weekends, play with him,
Absolutely. Yeah.
or sometimes they would stay here for a week or two, and we would take turns
Turns.
in taking care of him, and it's so much fun.
And they say it's calming. They say when the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. There was a time when last year I was depressed, and I told you this.
Yeah.
I was depressed because I really the
You went through like a phase of like it was horrible.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
horrible because of the toxic workplace that I've been on.
Yeah.
And there was a time where my blood pressure somehow spiked,
Oh man.
and went to the doctor, and she said, you have to manage your
You have to
stress.
take care of
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
And when baby B came in, and when we had him or the family over for the holidays,
Hmm.
my blood pressure dropped.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is relaxing. It is stressful though, because even I as an uncle, where and my wife as an aunt would take care of him like, maybe once in a week or for a whole week. We would even feel the stress and the effort
Yeah.
of really taking care of him,
Yeah.
making sure he is fed, making sure he gets enough sleep.
Yeah.
But I could never imagine how much effort that goes into it by his
The parents.
by the parents. So yeah, shout out to all the parents out there. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's
Yeah.
never easy, but
but
yeah.
look, the joy that you derive from it, and obviously how calm you are, knowing that there's a part of you that can really, there's a part of you that can be jumpy or
Yeah.
anxious given any circumstance, for example, that you aren't able to predict or aren't able to control. Like kids, kids are quite unpredictable.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I can only imagine the level of anxiety sometimes wherein a kid is not really, and it can't even talk.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Can't even tell you what it needs.
He went through, I think, 2 health scares.
2 health scares.
Yeah, in the last year.
In the last year, yeah.
It was not anything serious, but it was, for example, I think he had an infection.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to be admitted into the hospital for, I think, 5 days, was it?
Yeah, needles were involved, obviously.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Poking. Okay, so that's gonna
That's really scary.
scary. Yeah,
And even for us, I mean, we really felt it. And after that, we somehow knew what to do and what to
Yeah.
avoid. Or at least most of it is from his parents, but also including us.
yeah,
And yeah, it is. I mean, it's a very having a baby in the family is a very delicate thing and delicate process.
it is.
But yeah, it's also fun. And I think for me, going into his first year, the most how would I say, the most meaningful part of it was to see his personality
Yeah.
come into picture.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's amazing where he would blurt out certain things, or he would act in a certain way.
certain manner.
Yeah, in a certain manner, and you would always think, saan mo na niya nakuha?
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. So, and I think he's a funny kid. I think he will be a funny
Look,
kid.
I think he's I told you in one of those dinners we had with Doyle Doyle when he came here one time. I told you the kid's temper
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be just the initial years would be much of like how to say hit or miss. But as he gets his personality and he gets he gets to talk and
Yeah.
he gets to imitate, that's where he'll shine.
Yeah.
I think the kid has a really good temper.
I'm looking forward to the part where he has the understanding of what's happening, and what it means to have, let's say, like me as his uncle or anyone in his surroundings to be interacting with him.
Yeah.
I mean, now he laughs because we play and we do.
You try to make faces, you
Yeah,
play, you try
exactly.
to gesture.
And
So
we
there's a
do
lot of
certain
effort, obviously.
we
Yeah.
do certain things with him, and then he reacts. But there is still that part where, especially if right now he's reading books.
He is reading books.
Well, not read, but he'd rather
Pretend reading.
play with books rather than play with toys,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. And even though the books get all upside down,
But
by
it's a
humans.
concept of actually doing it, which is
So he's trying to
nice.
imitate the action of us telling him what's inside the book or telling the story of
of
the
the
book.
book.
So what he would do is he would open the book, mumble some gibberish, and point at pictures.
Mumble at gibberish and
Yeah.
point at pics.
Yeah. So he's trying to imitate what we're doing to him, basically reading the book. So that's interesting. So that's why I'm looking forward to when he finally understands his surroundings,
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
when he finally understands what it is to learn something.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
What
the
would
part.
what would you like to be like now? You have every every space to how to say get called a name. Like as an uncle, what would you like him to call you? Like any pet name you've thought about?
So his mother has been calling me Tito Kuya, which is
Tito Kuya.
a combination of uncle and brother.
Yeah.
They're also calling me Samchun, which is the Korean.
Yeah. Samchun. Yeah, I've heard that.
Which
yes.
is the Korean uncle. I think those two
Those two.
yeah, because
Those two will stick.
yeah, I think those two will stick, especially the Samchun one, because
Yeah.
we saw when they were staying here a week or two, and we were watching some Korean series.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was, and the main character was an uncle and a nephew.
Yeah.
And obviously, the nephew would always call his uncle Samchun.
Samchun. Yeah.
So that name got stuck with me.
That's gonna stick.
Yeah.
For me, it's quite predictable. So you know, it's Tito Mike,
Tito Mike.
Tita Mimi is gonna be, he's gonna blurt those out probably.
Yeah.
But I really like I really like the fact that we're thankful with like many things that went on. I mean, the year 2021 came very fast. Like now,
Dude, it's like what now? 6 weeks,
a
5 weeks.
a week to end of November and month number 12, December.
Right. It's like 6 weeks till the beginning of the year, right?
Yes, another 6 weeks.
Jesus.
That 6 weeks is gonna fly. That's about 6
True.
other podcasts.
True.
So I'm just thankful that this year taught me how to be calmer in terms of
Yeah.
like the relationships that you invest your time with, because there's many like people that want a piece of you in terms of like your time and like you're as an artist or as a creative, but for a fact that the only thing really that you have control of is who, not your time, but who you give it to.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just I'm impressed because now you start to figure out what's a wise way to spend your time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's more valuable than money.
than even money,
Yeah.
because in the end, I kind of taught myself how to make a bit of money. I mean, as a hustle, obviously we
Yeah.
talked about in the previous podcast, which you should watch, the podcast of Doy's guesting.
Yeah.
Talk about the small business, but I'm really thankful that I got through that, and it really opened my eyes into like, okay, money can be made, but time gone can't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've always told, I've always a proponent or a advocate of if there is anything that money can buy time as much as you
Yeah,
can.
you did tell me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a learning that I've acquired over the years of working for a tech company, as well as especially now when I'm working at the same time, studying on the side.
Yeah.
And there are certain things, for example, I could go on desk research, and that feeds into my thesis or the assignments that I have for
Right.
my masters.
Right.
But I figured if I pay someone to help me with that research, I would save that time into planning for even bigger topics, or maybe enjoy my
Enjoy the free time that
yeah, enjoy the
you're not
free
doing it.
time, or
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
or instead of, let's say, being bogged down or being stressed at the research work or the desk work, why not enjoy that with this, doing an episode of a
Doing a podcast.
podcast,
Yeah.
or do something creative which lightens up your mood or increases your energy.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, I've learned that quite a bit. So yeah, if you have money to invest, and if you have wealth to invest, yeah, invest in buying time if you can.
That's
Yeah,
awesome
yeah.
piece of advice. Yeah. I've heard that, but I've sort of never thought about it until like now. Like it's really something interesting when you
It's the
reach a certain
same.
age.
It's the
Yeah.
same with your business, right? I mean, you could have made the deliveries yourself for each and every order that you acquire through within
Within yeah,
Mokongs.
yeah.
But then you don't do every single delivery, but because that will cost you your time,
Yes.
and instead you can focus that time on specific clients or special clients, and
Yes.
then delegate that delivery to someone
To
else,
someone else. Yeah.
with obviously with the cost to it, but
Yeah.
obviously the return would be more, rather than you doing the
Yes.
delivery
And
yourself.
the cost is shouldered by the person ordering.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
the only
all the
investment
better.
is the planning,
Yeah,
which you have to do anyway. When you're doing a meal plan every weekend, you have to plan for anything. I mean, I can go on and on with like, what's the sort of worst thing that can happen when you're doing a food prep is when you have like probably 12 orders that happening on the same day, and two out of your 12 orders, one had an extra sisig, another had like a pancit you didn't order.
oh, did that happen?
It happens. It
Oh,
happens.
really?
And I can only
Interesting.
blame myself because I'm probably the type of person who I like to pay attention to patterns of time. So
Yeah.
it needs to be done by 10:30. It has to be air dried by 11.
Yeah.
The guy has to be downstairs in 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
just like you, I'm into round numbers. So I kind of like
Yeah.
when I see a pattern and it gets when someone bugs you down, you kind of get sort of so a side of me, which is like I get pissed off. So I like it when that happens because I get to control the outcome. I can make it happen. But sometimes when other people are involved, like when your wife's involved or the delivery person is involved, that's really not kind of like a good character.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I did quite a lot of research on that, basically, and I told you this before that
Yeah.
I have an undiagnosed ADHD brain, and exactly what you said,
Undiagnosed, yes, for sure.
where my activities are blocked in my calendar at rounded times.
Yes.
So 10, 10:30, 10:15, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And if I don't start, or if I don't finish at those round numbers, my mind gets mixed up in a certain way.
Yeah. It goes through a certain phase of a blur.
Yeah, a blur, or
You
being
get incapacitated. Like,
exactly, or being irritated at yourself and being harder on yourself, which is not a healthy thing at all.
it isn't.
Another thing, though, on the opposite side, if I do start at the right time and finish at the right time, I'll be all over the world, and I'll be, the cert. It has a certain level of satisfaction,
Yeah.
basically.
The payoff after, like, when everything goes smoothly, when you
Yeah.
try to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you go through, so I'm also a believer of what they call as GTD.
That's GTD.
So getting things done. So I forgot who the author is, but the idea that in every single day you should have one thing that you should get done, no matter what the situation is,
No matter how simple the task
yeah,
is.
no matter how simple the task, but having that single thing done for the day would give meaning to your life in that particular day. And when I implemented that in my life, and I noticed that I can carry out minimum one, maximum three of those things done. And whenever I finish that, I sleep well at night.
Yeah.
And it gives you the energy for the next day that yes, I can do this. But obviously, yes, as with everything else, the week is not perfect. On some days, you don't get shit done. On the
Yeah.
other days, you're Superman.
You don't get shit done. Shit gets poured on you.
Welcome to that's the perk of the working life or the middle class man.
Yeah. The time based.
Yeah, time based.
Yeah.
When you're
Salarized man.
yeah, when you're trading your time for money, that's always the case.
Yeah.
That's the price you pay for a stable income, so to
Yes.
speak. Wow, we're adulting in this episode.
Absolutely. I mean, now we're transitioning to, like, definitely, like light years away from the fun we had in grade school,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the super fun we had in high school, and then now we're transitioning to a different phase. So
Yeah.
I know we probably intro to, like, what stage we had when I know you and me went to the same college.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happened. So walk me through.
Did you?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me ask you first. Did you have any plans before of studying outside of our city?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where was that?
My goal was to go to school in like in high school. I wanted to go to science high. In
Oh yeah, that was the
I
thing.
did. There was an entrance exam which I think I aced.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not shy to say, but I'm really good with exams.
Yes, you do.
I'm very good in exams. Just don't copy my answers in, like, NSAT or NEET, because that's alternating, so you'll definitely flunk. Like,
Yeah.
I know someone who did and who failed miserably because of that. But I quizzed
Someone we
really well.
knew?
Someone in high school, yeah.
All right. Cool.
They were told in advance that the NSAT, which we took in high school, was gonna be alternating questionnaires.
Yeah.
So when your seatmate is answering a quiz, the answer to that number that you're looking at does not correspond to the answer in your test paper at the same number. Truth be told, those were your seatmates. You know that they were going to be your seatmates, so you have to tell them that please don't do it. But there were a few who still did it, and this was in Corpus, so they failed.
Here's the thing. I
So-
never get the idea of cheating in an entrance exam.
Likewise,
I just
what's
never
the point?
I
mean,
just never get that.
you'll probably me too.
That's not to say I've never cheated in high school or grade school. Well, much more in high school. I did, took a peek in someone else's paper. Yes.
I'd rather not comment. Galing ko plastic. Yeah.
But
we all did.
for
We all did.
entrance exams, it's either you have it or not. I mean,
Just don't do it.
Yeah, I just don't get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quizzed really well, and I think that's sort of this when you have a friend, like there's this one friend that doesn't study,
Yeah.
and there's a quiz. I'm probably that friend that probably would still have a good grade eventually. So that happened in college, and while I took entrance exam for Ateneo, also for Ateneo de Manila, UP.
So
Opcat.
what was your decision factor for
Family.
studying?
Family, of course. I don't want to. That was the kasagsagan atong nabatigi pusil. You know that kid that got popped. There's this kid that got
Where?
murdered in Manila. I think my parents didn't really want me that far that time.
All right.
So that was the only motivation. I said, okay, fine. I'm going to Xavier. That was the intention.
Yeah.
How about you? What was the any schools that you
Uh,
were particularly interested in? Like aside from,
no.
you know,
It-
Xavier?
Now that I think of it, I was never the. I mean, you know me now as someone who.
A genius?
No, not
A
really.
successful person?
You know me now as
Well off?
someone who loves to plan things out and has this vision of where I wanted to go
Yeah.
and the things that I wanted to achieve. But I was never like this back in college. And also, another factor for choosing the school we went to is I had a girlfriend back then.
You did?
Yeah.
Like
From
most of us had.
yeah, of
No,
course.
I did have a girlfriend. I did not have a girlfriend in first year college. It's I think on the first sem. I
Yeah.
had.
So
But going into college, she
yeah,
had a
going
girlfriend.
into college, I had a
didn't have
girlfriend,
that.
and she also went to the same school. But obviously, I go to the same school.
Yeah.
But even though if we were not together during that time, I would still be studying at Xavier.
Yeah.
Because again, I didn't have any plans of going or exploring outside the city
anywhere
first.
else,
Yeah. Another factor was obviously we were coming out from playing music and being in bands, and during that time
Yeah.
the music scene was really healthy.
It was really hot
Was
in
booming.
Cagayan. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and there were bands left and right, and there were venues where you can play, and
Yeah.
also in my mind, I'd really love to have the experience of playing in these venues
Yeah.
as on the side while studying as well.
Correct.
So
Correct. Yeah.
yeah, that was
Was it for just to spend time and not really about the income part or get the TF, but it's more of like just enjoying
yeah
the shit of banging a drum set. That's
yeah
it.
yeah and
Yeah.
obviously when you come from high school and you've had the experience of winning a competition in high school
high
for
school,
playing in a band, and you get the taste of it, and you're like, okay,
I can do this. Yeah.
I can do this. And it's also that was the time when also you were already part of the band.
I was. Yeah.
And going back to the story of
Yeah.
us playing during the Xavier days in that science room, that was around first year, second year.
That was
I think that was first year.
no. That was that's an interesting story. That was
When was that?
2002.
So that's about second year. No,
That's third
no,
year, I think.
Third year.
Third year, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, the memories.
oh yeah, so I did get to that ambition or to that goal.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. You were masterminding the grand plan of performing at a bigger stage, and even to a point wherein it was not just about the songs you were performing, but we had a sort of a manifesto that you wanted to do. Like you really wrote it out before me leaving.
Jesus.
You remember that before
yeah.
me leaving for Cebu in 2004, you wrote a very, very long.
I wish I could still pull that email, because
you sent it to you have sent it through your Dorkster Dave email
yeah, I still
to
have that.
me in 2004, and you sent it to Blues Marquez at yahoo.com, yahoomail.com. It should be there. You sent
No
it sometime.
way.
You sent it sometime 2004 in between June to around August.
And what do you remember as
I need
was
you
the
to.
topic?
I need you to talk about. No. I want you to search. Can you search by like words?
Yeah, I can.
Can you type hammerhead?
Hammerhead.
The MIDI. The drum module that you used to.
Yeah.
So it should be there somewhere. You found it.
You know what the subject is?
What's the
Holy
subject?
shit.
From Dorkster Dave. What's the subject, buddy?
Subject is male sexual organ
Enlargement.
enhancement.
This is why.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. you're
I'm gonna read this later.
you have to send it back to me because there are some things that I want to see if I was able to do those. Like there was a lot of
Dude, there are names here.
there are names there.
There are names here.
You want to just make them blank or pretend like put like funny names like maybe animals
So
or
here's the email that I sent on the
When?
October 15, 2004.
absolutely
Right?
right.
You got that right.
Absolutely right.
And dude, the timestamp on it is 2 a.m.
Yes. You emailed this to me while I was in the middle of work and I was laughing because the subject was crazy and it popped through my personal email and my supervisor saw it
So
because I work nights then.
here's my first line.
Go for it.
Solid. Kumusta naman ka? Why did I call you solid?
Queso.
Guess.
So,
All right. So it goes, solid, kumusta naman ka? Mahay mi ni
Mahay mi.
tambok.
Yes.
Kay sige na mo uban ni.
Yeah.
Wala na kay time sa amo imong mga babies on board.
Which
Jesus.
is look, man, it's true.
Jesus.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And I owe you guys that's probably out there already, but that time that we could have spent, more time
And
for Bob.
Jesus, it's a long ass email.
I'm telling you, yeah. It's a podcast.
It is a podcast.
It's a podcast, yeah.
And I go, I have 3 agenda for you, which will be numbered. Number 1, blah, blah, plan for a project. Number 2, using the percussion software. Number 3,
Which percussion software?
Hammerhead.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna read this after this podcast, and also you replied,
Send me.
yeah. Hey dork, blutz doy doy. Just saw this very old email from Dave and I wanted to tell you my thoughts before putting this in archive.
Yeah, because I lost this email. I lost it. I couldn't.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Queso lands that bass up your ass, Rodriguez. The subject made you wonder how male sexual organ enhancement.
Enhancement, yeah.
Epic.
This is the old email that, I created for the band, and I'm just so glad that I have sort of a recollection when you sent it.
Yeah.
Like the moment I received that mail and how surprised I was because you were awake and you just composed that really long ass email.
2004, this was fourth year college, was it?
No, it's we graduated.
Sorry, no,
We finished
no.
college. This was first year if you're working with Harvest.
Oh yeah.
This was Harvest
That's right.
SEO.
That's
Yeah.
right.
This was your
Jesus.
this was your me seeing you working in evenings, long ass nights in your computer.
And
Yeah,
this was addressed to Rhythm Bureau at yahoo.com.
that's right. Before I got it archived. And now it's completely I couldn't even access it.
Amazing. All right, I'm gonna read this later.
But look, whatever you wrote there is still relevant to like your grand plan. I mean, we did an iteration of like the plan of arranging together and making music together with Blutz, away. But then sort of we were able to execute it, but we sort of shelved the project in production, which is
Amazing.
which is a result of that.
Cool.
Telling you.
Yeah, it's interesting college life because you mentioned this before we went into the podcast where we were with different groups of people
Yeah.
before
Different cliques.
different
Yeah.
cliques. Tell me what you can recall from first year of college when we entered Xavier. Who were you hanging out with?
You know what? Right off the gates, I think first year, first sem, I fell in love.
Immediately?
I got a girlfriend. Yeah.
All right.
Right off the gates. First classmate.
First classmate.
First classmate, first seatmate. Yeah.
And was she in our high school as well?
Nope.
Okay. So
She was from Hingog. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what was that like? So that was your first girlfriend, was
First
she?
girlfriend. Yeah.
All
First
right.
girlfriend.
What was that like?
Fantastic.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or overly joyed.
It's first. It's fantastic. It's like opening
A box of
it's like
chocolates.
opening a bottle of soda after a day of working out. Yeah.
Oh wow, what a description!
Yes.
All right.
Fantastic. Yes, but that was the first among many.
How would
You're laughing because there's context to that, obviously.
yes. I'm trying to remember who, but I think I remember now.
Yeah.
The first year. Okay.
She looked like the kind of like a younger version of Angelica.
You know what?
Panganiban. Just
No.
like not chinky eyed, but fair skinned,
So
pretty.
who was that girl who looked like the poor man's version of Ariana Grande?
Who's that? did I did 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 I do that?
I think so. Yeah.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. There's
Yeah.
probably one, and just tell me the year or the month.
This was the girl you brought to Blues' house.
Oh, you. No. Ah.
There was only one.
Yeah, there was only one. Yeah. 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 We
That was the second one?
not so sure. No. Just thinking about it.
All right.
But I think the good story that I got from that is that she's you met during I think band practice in church, because I was an active
Sorry, which one
church.
is this now?
This one
The Ariana Grande one?
the Chinese Ariana Grande. She's
No,
Chinese.
the Chinese one is a different one. I remember the
Different?
Chinese one. Yeah.
the Chinese one is
The Ariana Grande one, I refer to the short person
oh.
with a very interesting name.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I call Ariana
Look, she's
Grande.
yeah, it was fairly recent before me and my before my wife.
Okay.
That was fairly recent. So that was actually quite like short lived, because there was a period when you just bounce off a really really big setback. So
Yeah. The Chinese person I knew.
yeah, Chinese person. Yeah.
Because I kept on seeing her.
Kept on checking her out.
No.
Yeah.
I always see her kanang maguli min siya.
You do?
Yeah. Kita mi. And every for some reason kita mi. It's like, hi.
Yeah. And she's like really friendly, and that's how I sort of kind of met.
She was
so,
the really smiling one.
Yeah.
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 Bungisingis type.
which is good when the going gets tough. Obviously, you want them smiling.
Yeah.
But I think in the grand scheme of things, college during the first year was a combination of that and then just a lot of people watching,
What do you mean a lot of people
a lot
watching?
of just looking at the different people.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed that in college.
We both did.
Yeah. Same as
You
what
and your
we-
magnifying lens.
same as the tambayan I had in high school, where I could see the people coming in and out. I had the same katong sa atbang sa chapel. I love to stay there.
Look, man, you were hanging out with poor man's F4, so of course you're gonna. Of course you're gonna tambay there.
The four tall, dark, and handsome looking gentlemen
from
Xavier University.
yeah, or was it Kongwa?
No, they were from they were
Xavier?
Xavier boys. Yeah,
Saber boys?
yeah, Xavier boys.
Yeah, they were like F4, but
Yeah, they were definitely F4.
so they sported
everything
this
from-
whole thing about the hair and whatnot.
all the
but
way from being rich kids to great looking guys to tall guys, and being the also
they were being thirsted by a few, Yeah,
Exactly.
That was good.
yeah.
And sort of like you belong to that group because of, I think, the subject. I mean, the course also.
Yeah,
was-
so me, Karen, and Badit all enrolled in the same course, and then we got to hang out with the F4 guys, and it was fun. It was a decent experience, and all I can remember is us hanging out quite a bit. Actually, in parties.
Hmm.
Um, I also
McDonald's.
I also remember we had a party once in one of their friends, Chinese friends,
Yeah.
and I was DJing.
You were?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
well,
really remember. Sort of. Sort of.
sort
This
of
was
DJing
before DJ
because
Fuente. Yeah.
I was manning
Booth.
the booth, the stereo, and was playing love songs, dance songs.
This was
Whatever.
foreshadowing. Huh?
Yeah, it was also a foreshadowing.
Very nice.
I kind of enjoyed that, and whenever I would play a tune, and they would go, "Oh," or have a
Ah.
reaction. But yeah, those were the days. And then, um, when did we cross paths in
I
college?
think I kind of understand when. So I went through this awkward phase also of like after like having like being in a relationship when I was out of a relationship. Remember the time that I was with the skater boys?
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So that was a like maybe a 6 to 8 month stint with the skater
What were
boys.
their names again?
Uh Marvy.
Marby. Yeah, I remember.
Marvilat. That's his name. So yeah, Marvy.
And who were the other
Your
guys?
Marvy, David Villegas,
David.
JR,
JR. There you go.
yeah, JR and
Yeah.
his brother,
Yeah, Skater Boys.
Skater Boys, yeah.
They also had the band,
And
right?
they had a band, Grudgeman, and I was playing for them too.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was main power chords guitar. So yeah, I was kind of odd. That's odd stage. But the fun part was I learned how to skateboard during that time.
Oh, you did.
I did.
Interesting.
I cannot ollie, but I can definitely ride.
I also remember this time where you taught me how to do finger skating.
Yep.
It was
And
lame, but I enjoyed
was
it.
very, very lame. Very lame.
Yeah.
And I was not even the one who taught you because I don't know much, but it was the other, like it was JR, I think, who taught you. Like out of like a random meetup we had.
Yeah.
And he was playing and he said, "Can I do that?" And then
Yeah.
you started playing in the ledge.
Yeah, and then I started buying one
You
of
and
those.
your very inquisitive mind. Always the
Yeah.
interesting fellow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. So hold up.
How did we meet?
Yeah, how did we meet?
We started
Obviously, we know each other way back, but how did we like cross paths in college?
that probably the answer to that would be when we started to go to Molave.
Really, that was
I was there with I was common friends with Dr. Joan Colliera, who actually has a house beside Molave, and they're cousins, I
that
think.
is true.
I told you this
Yes.
is the connection.
Okay.
This was the 6 degrees of separation, and then we started
Yeah, you used to. I remember this time my partner in crime was the only
V.
Dan Stanley
Dan
Sabong.
Stanley, cockfighting Sabo,
That
the
guy,
man, the myth,
the
the
legend.
legend.
He was
Yes.
the legend. Speaking of Dan Stanley Sabong,
Shout out, mate.
shout out.
Long time.
So obviously with with being in college and being all in relationships, and that's
All that jazz. Yeah.
all that jazz. I remember him printing out all of the pickup lines
Why would you
in
do
a piece of paper.
paper?
Yeah. So things like tato.
Sample one?
Yeah. So
And so that I can judge the lameness at a scale of 1 to 10.
So ang pantalan ba di ay amo dool sa barko.
Holy
Right?
crap.
Right? I will never forget that line because that's number one and that thing has, so imagine an A4 sheet of paper
Right.
with, let's say, around 70 or 100 of them on one sheet.
I'd like to see that list.
And that list, and he had three sheets of paper stapled, and he would distribute that to every single one of his friends. It was an odd one now that I think of it, but back in the day, it was interesting.
I would have made copies of that and sold it.
It would have been a book, yeah, I would agree.
It would have been a song.
A lot of it could be a song, actually.
Now
Yeah,
that I
so
think of it, yes, I think by itself, the first line sort of was the ethos of the whole dating
Jesus.
dating modus operandi. that they had.
And I also remember him, me, Blues, and also the legendary Bernie Bitok Bitok, Malvern
yes,
Esparcia.
Malvern.
There was four of us who used to hang out also during the first 2 years in college,
Right.
and we would
Was this
go.
was he like into like comedy that time then, or he was still known for being like a really really good dancer?
He was a dancer during.
He was
that
a
time.
dancer during
Yeah.
this time, so
Actually, we started hanging out towards the end of high school and then more in into college.
very good dancer.
Yeah, he was.
Very good dancer.
And I remember we used to talk about the idea of step up or set up.
Really?
Yeah. So the setup is basically when you are interested in someone,
Yeah.
we would discuss ideas on how to impress that someone.
Okay, hold up. So, for example, you have a type.
Yeah.
So who does the setup?
No, so I will be doing the setup.
Okay.
But the ideas would come from the four of us.
You had content writers.
Basically, yeah.
No shit.
So Baby on Board the project, the
The band?
no. Yeah, the band, but remember that Baby on Board started as a side project to record
songs. Yeah.
Yeah, for Blutz.
Yeah. That was the setup?
That was the setup. Yeah, that was my click. Right, going into college.
I got a bit it was fascinating to see you guys, especially when we were like trying to set up for our practices, because remember this was the heyday of like when we had very unreliable SMS that could give you like
True.
unlock several like quirks. Like you had the only message SIM.
Yeah.
You had the drop calls.
Man,
you
the
had
drop calls were the shit before. Yeah.
gold.
That was a taste of instant messaging at its best,
Yes.
where I need you here, call, drop the call.
That got stuff done.
Exactly.
Nako Chapel.
Matigala pag ika kung nakuhaan mong load kay
How many
gidap mo lang.
seconds? How many seconds was that?
I don't know.
I think 6, right? I mean, or was it a lot?
No, it was just a few.
A few seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Or else
would
makuhaan
guess.
ka.
Yeah, I probably guess less than 5 seconds.
I had a SIM before that had like I could like it was only text. Like you could text anybody, and it was like
Yeah.
it was prepaid, and you just didn't run out of load.
So I remember
God.
late high school, early college. No, late high school. This was, excuse me. This was when the Nokias and texting really
Boomed. Yeah,
boomed.
it was a big boom. Yeah.
And I remember my dad's cell phone was a Razor, one of the old ones, and it was
Motorola Razor.
Motorola Razor, and it was what do you call this? It was company sponsored,
Nice.
right? So I started texting my girlfriend back in the day,
Yeah.
and replying back and forth, and we were traveling back then, so we were texting, only to realize kada send na mo kog text adto bayad kag piso.
Of course.
And I think my dad ended up with a bill of 900 and
Oh God.
900 pesos something, and that was huge back in the day.
It was huge. Yeah,
And-
for sure.
and
Just
being-
on SMS.
Yeah, and being company sponsored, he had to let the line go. It's like, yeah, no, this is too much.
My boy's stupid, and
Yeah.
he just sent
My boys.
this. This justifies that my boy
Yeah.
was sending messages, and he's a big
Yeah,
stupid kid.
stupid kid. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll
But look, it was it was very refreshing because we had like our first taste of like really painstaking messaging. That
Yeah.
was not convenient. I mean, you had to Come on.
you had to type it
you had
in.
to type, but we were masters like with QWERTY. Like I was so fast.
Yeah. I mean, you could type without watching at the phone, looking at the
Yeah.
phone. Also, the pain of having to th-
The
to
pain
the pain of having to write a message carefully so that you don't go beyond the text limit.
of 360 words, I think.
Was it
I think
360?
360, or else
I think
you
it
go
was
to the
a-
next line. Was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was. It was. There was a limit
Yeah.
for the first paragraph, and then you'd master it, and then if you almost did not reach the limit, you had to do these
Yeah.
smileys, the use,
And then
or make a boob.
and then there's always the pain of not being able to send a text when the network is fully congested. Man,
Network. What was the check network services was when you don't have
Yeah.
load.
yeah, something like that.
It won't really tell you that, hey, you're poor, you don't have load. But check network services.
The amount of money we had to spend on load
on
was ridiculous.
The best possible business model back
Yeah.
in the day was this.
And speaking of load as well, we had to load our internet
Yes.
back in the day.
With that weird handshake sound.
Yeah, handshake
And you
sound.
can't freaking use the internet when you're on the phone.
No, you
So
cannot.
it's either magtalibabad ka
Yeah,
or mag IRC.
yeah,
You had a choice.
yeah. And therefore, watching porn would be really expensive.
Yes, that too. So you'd probably just, if you were a smart kid back in the day and not the stupid one like myself, you'd invest on JPEGs and invest on GIFs
JPEGs.
too.
Or you'd invest in the pirated CDs
From Baghdad.
from Baghdad,
Yes.
and you discover all sorts of shenanigans out there
Absolutely.
at the back
and you
end
don't-
of the
Absolutely.
Of the
You
store.
just have to say, do you want X? What? Chicks? X.
So
What is X?
I can proudly say for myself that I've never bought one from those stores, but I know a close friend of ours who
Very
did.
good. And it probably a close friend of ours had lent us,
Yes, of course.
Copies.
Lent us copies, and
which we reviewed with with a lot of thoroughness, and probably never returned it.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
And in fact, there was a time before when you can save these said videos to
Yeah.
your hard drive, and
And same common friend of ours taught us how to do that.
yes, true.
Yeah.
That's a lot of knowledge transfer that helped us through college, and and I think it was because it was expensive to and right now it's
Yeah,
like
technology was really expensive back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember my first paycheck, I purchased a memory card, which was 8 gigabytes back then.
Wow.
For 1,800 pesos. No, it was 2,000 pesos
2,000 pesos. Yeah.
for 8 gigs of RAM.
Of 8 gigs.
Imagine
of a memory
that.
card. Yeah.
And
Back in the day.
And I had to have one because it was my first PC and it was a low end spec. So I needed,
I remember this piece so much.
Yes.
It's so beautiful.
and
Yeah.
I had to get the memory card because I really desperately wanted to play Counter Strike.
Counter-Strike.
Yes.
Yeah. This was an athlon, right? I remember you had
Yes,
this
yes,
athlon.
yes. It was an
Yeah.
athlon. Man, I love that PC.
That was this really weird part of your house.
Yes, at the corner.
Which is,
And
you can't even watch porn.
No, I've never watched porn at that.
Yes.
Because it was tilted to the
Yeah,
back. It was
it was
tilted
tilted in the back.
backwards,
Yes.
and I had my
You had
what do you
this
call that?
PC case.
Case.
The blue one.
A
Yeah.
case slash stand.
Yep.
And then you have your keyboard. So, just to not strain my neck, you had to tilt the monitor backwards, and the monitor was freaking thick.
And you know for a fact that that was where you placed it because that's where your landline is.
Yes, exactly. Those were the days.
Those were the days, Pai.
And you had your PC on your own
I
too.
had too, but it was so slow. It was I think it was a Duron, so it was even worse. But we went to your house because you had the fast one back in the day, and we played Wincoax, and we
What
played
was that again?
Wincoax. You don't know? You don't remember Wincoax?
What's Wincoax?
This was Tekken. This was the games, the PC games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where you could play Street Fighter. You could play
Was it an emulator?
It's an emulator. This is
Okay.
it's an emulator. And
Okay.
then we had a friend who like, I gotta do better than this. So he bought the
Yeah, he bought the high-end
high-end
specs
specs.
with a CD writer because we know what he would be writing on those CDs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we capitalized.
Yeah, we capitalized as well.
So yeah.
I know the game that we bonded so hard on was Tony Hawk
Oh man.
Pro Skater 2.
Your computer was so slow that we could
Exactly.
execute with the specs that you had before you bought your memory card. We could execute like a 1080
Yeah.
like a 1080 like
What
a
was it?
flip from
Yeah,
the
1080 flip.
from the pipe from the
Yeah,
half
from
pipe,
the pipe.
and have like really bonus points and unlock like a lot of features.
I could still remember
That's
where
a very slow computer.
Yeah, I can still remember the game where the Tony Hawk would be skating on the park,
Yep.
and as he goes on rolling into the park would just load as it
I'm
is
telling you, yeah.
because it was
It was
so
so slow.
slow.
And you know, all these like not graphics, but all these sprites, you know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was so, you know, and you cannot load it in high def. Obviously, the
And
resolution was so low.
another game that made me
We bonded so much on that. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
we bonded
absolutely
so
right.
much.
Yeah,
Another game that made me upgrade my PC was what do you call this? Need for Speed Most Wanted. That was
Yeah.
a resource hog all around.
was it?
Yeah, and I gave up after that because like, nah, I'm not.
Yeah.
This is not scalable. I'm not gaming.
You had Red Alert also. I mean,
Yeah.
you liked Red Alert and you played that too.
I
Yeah.
played that so much, even though even though I played it so lame because I would play against a CPU,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously a CPU, you would know what the moves of the CPU were,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and you would just kill them on all difficulty levels because you memorize their
Memorized
moves.
it. Yeah.
But I would still enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Others would go into the cafes and
And you know,
compete.
battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compete. That's right. Speaking of cafes, did we ever bond with Counter Strike? Was there a time that we played?
A bit. I think Blues was one who got really into it. I
This was in
remember.
Cyberspot. I think this
Yeah,
was in
Cyberspot. Yeah.
near I think near Blenders.
And
this,
obviously,
near Duncan
Xpops towards the end was hooked on so much on Dota.
for Dota. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Which is he's kept that on as
Were
a
you
legacy.
into CS:GO?
Just Counter Strike? Yeah, the
Yeah.
old one. Yeah,
Where
we had
in
mentioned
Cyberspot as well?
Cyberspot. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of guys.
I was
in there.
called Watachu. My name was always Watachiwa, and I was always the last in the pile.
Were you good at it?
Not so much so.
Were you,
I was so bad.
or you were so bad?
Yeah, so bad.
You know why I don't play
I blame
those?
it on reflexes.
You know why I don't play those games on the cafes? Because I would be easily pissed if someone would trash talk.
Yeah,
I would get tilted all the way.
you would.
Yeah, I would.
I think the trash talking was I enjoyed the trash talking because you'd like to prove other people that you were different, especially when ikaw na lang nabilin, nalakgun ka na,
Yeah.
kutsilyo. But no, di ko
So-
mag-kutsilyo, mag-sniper jud ko.
So remember our friend again.
Yeah,
So you knew how competitive it was.
very much so.
So I remember this incident once where he went to Cyberspot and we were both there.
Yeah,
Obviously, I was casually gaming. And I just had to fill in a seat
Sure,
and
yeah.
just to complete. And he started trash talking. Katong mga manoy gid bitaw sa Counter Strike.
let me guess. He's the gun's left-handed.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
and he
couldn't
like
remember.
trash talk, like a lot of trash talking. involved.
Yeah, and he would go pagpuyo, and
Absolutely.
and you, come on, man, you know who this, who this,
Mama mentality. Was it?
Yeah.
I think it's Mambo.
Yeah.
Mambo mentality.
And
But
he-
yeah, he was very competitive.
yeah, he
especially
was
with
very
this.
good. He shouted, he
dude.
blurted out pagpuyo, and out of the blue. So obviously the guy,
Huwag ka muna kulatahan.
wala pod ba ya?
Wala pa.
Pero ang katong mga manoy, they won, and they won by a landslide.
Sure.
And they never stopped
Teasing him.
talking trash back at him, clap
Right.
back at him, until he just went out because he couldn't take it.
Yeah. He didn't. He just left.
Yeah, he just laughed afterwards. I was
That's
like,
bad.
yeah, dude, you shouldn't have done that in the
Yeah.
first place. And I mean, you're in their territory.
Turf. Yeah, they're
And
turf.
you
Yeah.
knew, back then the cafes were very territorial.
Yeah.
The how do I say
the
it?
Palos Restaurante,
Yeah.
Cyber, this one, Cyber
The-
Kid, Cybers, yeah.
how would I call them? The residents of those cafes.
Mm.
Yeah, they were very territorial
Yeah.
in that. So
Especially when people would like not save seats, like after classes,
yeah,
people would like flock, and then you'd know that, oh, I can't take a seat because like this is the team for this
sure.
cafe. So a lot of that went, and of course we had our memories in like Dunkin' Donuts. I mean,
Yeah.
what were you there for?
To be honest, I don't remember that much in college. I remember Dunkin' Donuts
I
in
don't remember that much in college.
yeah.
Really?
No. What I remember, the Dunkin' Donuts I remember very well was during my law school.
Aha. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
because-
a different phase after. Yeah.
Because we would go there at 9 p.m. in the evening, and that's where we would study.
They would study. Yeah, you'd review.
And we would be there up until, let's say, 12 or 1 a.m.
What's the concept of studying very late at night?
Very good question. I'm trying to recall that. So, I think it's different for different students, if I'm not mistaken. So for myself, I went there because it's when I'm working during the day, I would come home at night and have a break, and usually I cannot study at home because obviously there are a lot of distractions. And then I'd go there to Dunkin' because that's where my classmates were, and in there you could banter, but it's not really banter as much as more on discussing what were the
Yeah.
topics in law school.
Right.
So that's one. I think most also, I cannot speak for the others, but I know some of the students are there as well just because mo lang gid siya. I mean, just because uso lang siya sa
Yeah.
law school to be there.
To be there. Yeah. So you had your coffee, you had a donut, and
Yeah.
you had your jurisprudence.
I would also remember kung masuman na mi sa kape sa kuan or gutomon mi, and let's say I would crave for a tapsilog or whatever. Then I would go sa say tawagan ng sa atbang sa grandstand. No, not grandstand. Kanang sa Divisoria, kanang tungo sa Divisoria ba? Atbang sa Dunkin'. There was a cafe
Yeah,
back then.
yeah.
Atbang dia. Kanang atbang pud sa DBP. There was a cafe back then. So
Mo serve og mga tapsilog, mo serve og
Tapsilog, yeah. Yeah, and I'll never forget that because a lot of times I will be there studying.
Yeah, yeah. Sort of again, siguro sa nako mo before because you had this like there were mga ano na mo mga brad, mga sis.
Yeah.
Obviously they were there and you were studying. We hung out sa Dunkin' just because we were killing time. It was just
Yes, that's also one thing.
that's
yeah.
one. I mean, you were not. I wasn't there for the dating scene.
Yeah, I remember.
just
No, same for
killing
me. I don't think
I never sort of dated anyone.
Yeah,
there.
I never.
I think
did.
I never did.
Yeah.
I met probably someone there, and then we left for like let's go home or whatnot. But no, just
Sorry, I had to take a short leak.
it was leaky.
Yeah, leaky leaks. Speaking of Duncan and college days, what were some of the activities that you enjoyed the most or you missed during college?
Not so contrary to like what other people would expect, like Xavier days and all of the like Christmas activities to Xavier. I think it was more of the you were just yourself, and at the same time we're around different groups. I was always around different sets of people.
Yeah.
And what I enjoyed was the specific activities that group associated with.
Yeah.
Like Skater Boys, and then you had the band, and then you had the classmates in like in biology that all were altas, and then you'd had to like keep up with the Jonases. So really, really group. But I think at the end of college was more of the, the you had to plan your time, and you had to, like, you had so much space in between classes, which was ridiculous. And
Yeah, that is true. I cannot remember now how we filled those vacant times.
I can only imagine what I did.
I can remember though going home if you have a huge gap in between classes. I'd
Yeah.
go home and take a nap.
I'd I'd go somewhere else. Yeah, yeah, me too. I'd go home probably somewhere, especially summers when McCoy's here. After,
Well, yeah.
yeah, I would always hang out there, where during the afternoons. But I think one thing memorable also from college is how much like when it came to breakage, like when you had to collect your like deposit from
Oh yeah, I
chem
remember
class.
this. Yeah.
That was something. That was like 1,800, I think, pesos.
Did you keep it? Did you keep that for yourself?
I returned it to my parents, and I ended up regretting.
Why?
It's not their money. It's mine.
Oh, what
So
do you mean?
it's a breakage. It's obviously, I waited for it. I could have like kept it,
Yeah.
like, to eat it, but that was everybody was trying to drink, like, go for drinks or go for eating.
Yeah.
But I probably
Can you remember your first drunken session in college?
I passed out. I was in it was in Christine's, and I didn't eat
Where's Christine's?
in
Ganit?
front of Mom's Corner, Casa Cristalia,
Ah, yes, yes, yes.
where the lechon manok.
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
and
yeah. That strip.
it was named after this. Christine was actually a person. She was a student in Xavier. Like, it's their family business, and she
Okay.
was Christine. So it was really odd seeing her there. At Christine's, so we were drinking a lot of Red Horse, and then I did not eat. So and then we transferred to someone's house, and then I think I passed out, woke up, made out, passed out again, and then just went home.
Made out.
Yeah, with some
Rando?
something. Yeah, yeah, total rando. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I remember. Yeah, I don't remember. I woke up and I was home
and you still remember that you made out with a rando.
with a rando.
All right.
Yeah,
You
I'm such a lightweight.
you're
Such a
you,
lightweight.
you have a different take on drunken stories.
I agree.
Well, for one, I've never made out on a rando. When I'm drunk, I do slur. I do get sick and
Pass out near toilets.
pass out. Yeah, true. But that's what for me though. Whenever I get drunk, I I try to how do I say this? I make it to a point where I keep a certain level of consciousness. That even
That's
though
good for
I'm
you.
so wasted, I still know what I'm doing.
So, like, for example, in your Apple Watch, this is the reserve mode.
Yes. Yeah,
When it goes to
exactly.
10%.
It's like it's the way I imagine it is you have the alcohol swarming or circulating in your
in
bloodstream,
your bloodstream. Yeah.
and then it occupies. It's supposed to occupy 100% of your brain, but then I'll exert a certain amount of effort. I don't know how, but I'll keep the 10% on whatever side of my brain to enable me to do crucial things. And what are those crucial things? One, do not embarrass myself.
Yep.
Two, that I don't embarrass anyone or cause anyone any trouble at all.
Yep.
Third, last but not the least, so that I can go home
Yep.
at the right amount, at the right time, at the
Right time.
Yeah.
And with money, obviously, I have the
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah. So no matter how pissed drunk I am, I'd be able to do those.
Yep.
So I think that was a superpower of mine back in the day.
My only mantra when I was in these group work, like when you're drinking and there's all this activity going on, when it's then drinking is involved, I always told myself, don't make out with your batchmate, don't make out with your classmate, don't make out with this one. Don't bring up this one. That
Do
was like
you
in my
do
head.
you get emotional when you're drunk?
I never do. I'm not those. I eat a lot when I start to drink, and then you saw me when we were drinking in your house. I would take out your rice. I would take out your
Yeah.
rice cooker, put corned beef in it, mix it, and then feed it to Blutes, and then we would start eating. Just I
But what?
eat a lot.
I mean, but why the makeout though? Why are you so? Have you? How many? Okay, rephrase. How many makeout session have you remembered because you were drunk?
I was probably not drunk then, if I remember them. So
Good point. Good point.
in college, it's like a tip of the iceberg. When I was in Cebu, man, that was the whole iceberg.
Man, Cebu is wild.
Not even saying wild, it was just
I've heard
it was just quite frequent.
I've heard a lot of even like wild stories
And if you're
Cebu.
if you're from CDO and if you're from Cagayan de Oro, you're like you're having the case of the jungle fever. So yeah, it was it was sad because you that was like time not well spent. But I would be one of those na would try to control na ayaw pag English, ayaw kay pag sig English, ayaw pag sig tubag-tubag.
Okay,
Control
so
yourself.
so when you got drunk, what were the most common feedback that you've heard from your friends or from those around you when you were drunk? What did they tell you that you usually do?
Bay, love you, bay. Lagi ka mo
Really,
kanta.
really.
Ah, ganun. Kung lalaki
Uh,
and then of course you don't make out kay lalaki man. So you have this like attention, alert.
alert.
It's a guy. Alert.
Yeah.
Facial hair detected. Yeah. But if it's, yeah, it's fair game.
Yeah.
You're one of those, you saw that when we had hung out in Lexus and all that, and sometimes things could go crazy and out of hand. So yeah. But
But that's-
Rando definitely is sort of off limits, but yeah.
I also have this I wouldn't say superpower, but I have this code in me. Unspoken, unwritten code
Yeah.
where if I see one of my friends that is about to get wasted, I'll hold back and make sure I'm sane enough either to take care of that guy or girl.
Designated driver.
Not well,
Like sort of like because you're
sort of
you're not wasted.
Yeah.
So you just
Yeah. So I encountered quite a lot of those drinking sessions where I know, especially when I'm with girlfriends, not girlfriend, but female friends. Yeah, female friends. That I'd make sure that nobody touches them inappropriately or
Yeah, especially that.
bothers them. So and when I got married with Shane, and obviously Shane loves to party and loves to drink, it was pretty much automatic for me. So whenever, and obviously we both love to party, but when I see her having really good time, and when she's at the level na, okay, she would really need assistance in 2 hours, 3 hours time.
She's turning pink.
Yeah, I would
Hold back.
definitely hold back. Yeah.
Well, I'm probably me and Iman. It's a different story. If we don't really drink, she's not a drinker. But there was one time I was really surprised because her choice of drink was Emperador. Like there was
Yeah.
a time when we were already married back then, and this was before coming to Dubai. That I saw her down like a few glasses, and she was like, she was good. It's good.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know that she had it in her, but
Yeah,
she's fun.
my last, I would remember my last drink that I got really drunk was the Zoom that we had with the circle.
Man,
I was so wasted.
you were high as a kite. You were like
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
jump shots. You were, oh my God, you were playing instruments.
yeah.
and
That was also the
I
time.
didn't even notice that you were,
That was also the time when I got depressed with the work.
so bad shot. That
yeah.
was like bad shot. That's
Yeah,
the term.
I was
Yeah.
really down and depressed at that time, and just so happy that I was talking with friends and had a drink too many.
You drank too many?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Do you know that when we had that session, I came from Dera
Yeah, delivery. Yeah,
to
you were delivery.
deliver
Yeah, you were on a
something.
delivery run.
And then I was just online and answered
Yeah.
random questions in
Yeah.
the bus, in the train.
Yeah, you were on a cab.
We're in a-
Yeah.
I started from MOE. I was in a cab and it
Yeah.
was like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And then
Yeah.
OMG.
It was so
And then you were
random.
probably just drinking and just time
It
flew
was the first time for me downing a bottle of whiskey
on your own.
on
Yeah.
my own.
Yeah.
I was so drunk and I was like, okay, that's enough.
You didn't call anybody though, but I was like I noticed already that you were starting to slur, but you had this one, you were on the reserve mode. You were still at
Yeah.
10%. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The 10%.
Yeah.
The thing is I would always remember the 10% because uh I can describe it as an invested effort to really keep the 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still remember I do not remember what I said after I got drunk, but I still remember where I was, what
Yeah.
I was doing.
You were fiddling with many things. You
Yeah,
were
exactly.
gosh, you were like yeah. Yeah, the whole workstation.
Yeah.
You had the MIDI keyboard up top and it was so much fun. Mellow. He just kept
Yeah,
saying
mellow.
mellow. He just kept saying mellow. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Yep. That's
look,
me. I'm a
That's
drunken
just
stories.
how we are when you start to develop a sense of like comfort when you're around
Yeah, that's
the
true.
people you're comfortable like in your own skin. It doesn't really matter what you're doing because they would understand. And
Yeah,
you were very reserved
that's also
still.
funny because when I was doing my when I was still with my residencies DJing almost every week.
Yeah.
Obviously, we would have drinks, and no matter how much I drank during those gigs, I'd never get drunk. Well, probably because I know I have to have a limit because I obviously I'd be
You're
playing.
at the decks. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also one. But there was this one time I remember Billy Kenny was there. No. It was no, yeah, I think Billy
Was it
Kenny.
at this one? Was it at the
Media One.
media one?
Media
Okay.
One pool. And there was about probably 120 people in there. And me and Sean Rutherford were playing back to back to end the night. So that was about 1 a.m. and we were playing bangers at then.
This is superheroes.
Superheroes. And I remember I was almost really, I think it was almost 1% before I got really super pissed. Pissed drunk at that.
Right.
And I remember right at the drop of one song, and I remember this, the name of the track was Banana Fruit Cake or Banana Cake something. The drop was so heavy. It was a bass driven heavy track, and when that song dropped,
Yeah.
and I got sober like
Immediately.
and I clearly can remember that it was blurry because I was tipsy. When the drop happened, it was really clear and I could see everyone, and then we would party, and then I got sober for the rest of the night and I couldn't sleep. But yeah.
The track sobered you up.
Yeah.
Look, I only saw you in the gig over at JBR, and you were very like
JBR.
yeah.
Which
You
part?
invited me over in your residency at JBR.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one at this cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This cafe.
Yeah, but you were also there when in our gigs in level 42.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this was the first one that you said come over, and then like
Oh,
you
at
know,
Bliss. That was
Bliss.
the
This was in
first one.
Bliss. Yeah,
Okay.
this was in Bliss, and it was really good. It was a good setup. Like the decks, and it was Genelec speakers.
It
I
was
paying
you
attention.
and Mustafa
Oath.
Oath
Yeah.
who went there.
Yes.
Yeah, fun times. I
Look,
miss those nights.
when we I sort of like before we wrap this up, like there's a lot of
Really, do we wrap this up already?
we have like 15 minutes, I would say.
Oh yeah. Wow,
There's just
it was fast.
that's very fast. I'm telling you. What are some of the things in college that sort of prepared you for? I could probably never really thought of going overseas at some point, but being a man with like a plan, what were some of those things in college that you knew that okay, I'm gonna just do this, and I'm gonna aim for this. Um,
That's a very good question,
you're
and
laughing.
no, I it's a very good question, and I can 100% say nothing in college prepared me for anything.
True
Um,
that.
so these are the things that I remember in college. I was heartbroken the first year. The second year, third year were focused on music
Yeah,
and basically forming what is now Baby on Board. And then the third year and fourth year where we're just cruising and making sure I have I that I spend the most amount of my time with friends.
right.
And probably had maybe one or two relationships in between.
Yeah,
And then during fourth year, I was already maybe that was a bit of a planning where in fourth year I was trying to set myself self up for law school.
yeah.
And then even in law school, that's when I got wilder, I would say.
Wild.
Yeah, because that was a time when I met someone and had an quote unquote open relationship. I was going to law school drunk. I entered a fraternity. I and we were still playing during that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I remember this. Yes.
And also, that was the time, and in law school, that was the time when I met Shane, my wife. So those were the phases. And in terms of, I can't remember any life lesson that I would carry on, with my life here in Dubai.
Yeah,
It was more. I think my mentality, remembering it now, my mentality was I really wanted to have a good time during those days. And good time meant either getting drunk or being hanging out with friends or playing in the
playing
band,
in a band. Yeah,
practicing with you guys. Yeah, that was it. That was my mentality. How
yeah.
about you?
Um, well, it was a lot. There was a lot of hit and miss. Like first year, second year was a doozy. Obviously, yes. It was more of having just a lot of fun, spending time with different set of
I
people.
never remembered you being single during college, to be honest.
Yeah, I was. I probably had a week. I was.
Seriously,
Yeah, yeah.
seriously, yeah.
Up until I got into a really serious relationship in third year. Which was life changing because when you realize that they're
Who is
built.
this? Ariana Grande or the
No,
Chinese
no,
one?
no, no. This is our batchmate.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
okay, cool.
just just one of those. I would say it's not a sensitive topic, but obviously it's like y- kind of the lesson I learned in life that there will be heartache. There will be
Oh yeah,
a lot of these,
yeah.
and that's when sort of I felt at like the most vulnerable in terms of like your life choices and whatnot. Because obviously you wanted to finish your college as a straight arrow student, but obviously you had so much fun, and it was never you never remember me being single, which is absolutely accurate. And there's probably a few gaps in between that I cannot account for. And yeah, and there's probably an issue of multiverse also. Like there's some gaps in between. And but what I remember clearly was that there was really like a year in college when I was like, this can probably work. Like this is probably where I'm gonna be for the rest of my
Oh, what
life.
was that?
This was when I had this like first time had this really serious relationship.
Oh, okay.
And obviously the circumstances was different because I knew it was coming at some point because when you take from somebody, it'll be taken back from you. I mean those were just the serious like repercussions of being in it's not an open relationship, but it was more of a very interesting and I would say very funky relationship.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So there will be heartbreak. That will be so that's the life lesson I learned.
for me, when it comes to relationships, I mean, this could be a whole episode in itself, probably. But to me, the interesting mindset that I've discovered is you will find yourself into a relationship when you least expect it to.
Absolutely.
And I learned that early on. In when I had that heartbreak in first year college, the as naive as I was like, okay, I gotta bounce back from this, and I got to be with someone better. And I have to enjoy the next relationship because the previous one was a complete heartache. But then I realized the more I tried to search for it, the more that it how do I say it? The more it escapes me,
The more
basically.
it eluded you.
Yeah, that's the right word. The more that it eluded me, and I experienced that for about, let's say, a year or two,
Yeah.
or let's say a year, and then I found myself into a relationship, which was good, and then that relationship I knew that it wouldn't last, and then had another relationship, and I when I got to learn, when I got to meet and be with a couple more people, I realized that um, a you can be in a relationship and not because there's also this mentality, especially back in the day. I noticed this, that whenever you get into a relationship, you always think that, okay, mo na gini siya.
That's
There
true.
was always this,
Like
and
this is the one that I probably would end up with
yeah,
at some
and
point.
and
And this is in
that's
college.
and I learned early on that that's very unhealthy, because you're
True.
banking. What that gives you, or what that does to you, is you then mold your future on that person,
Around
basically
that
around that
around that
person,
person.
and
Yeah.
around the possibility of being that person in the long term, which is not healthy, especially when you're that young. Instead, what I told myself is, yeah, I'm having a good time with this person. I'm gonna cherish this time that I'm with her. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, then we move on. Yes, it will, there will be times when it'll be shitty, because obviously when you spend time together, you somehow develop a routine, a habit, and then it becomes part of your
Part
core,
of your system.
yeah,
Yeah.
part of your life at some point. And obviously letting go would always be shitty in that case, but then
Yeah.
life moves on. So that's why after that first year heartbreak, that was my mentality all throughout. And I never minded, and I always enjoyed being single as well, because you get to do a lot of things. And also the band helped me, or the music helped me take my mind off that
That. Yeah.
constant pursuit of having a relationship, which was unhealthy. And then I, out of the blue, and this is the coolest part as well, is out of the blue during law school, I met my wife Shane weeks after that infamous incident in the
At
Gaston
Miko's
Park.
at Gaston Park.
Yeah, yeah. That infamous incident led me to be invited in one of the drinking sessions, and
Right.
then lo and behold, Shane was there.
She was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the great thing about that is, obviously I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting to meet her during that time, and at the same time, when we clicked, the best time we had when we were dating was at Macumba, and that was the turning point for me to look into DJing, because we danced to I forgot the name of the track. It was
Yeah. Macumba had a lot of sick beats back
yeah,
then.
Sick Beats.
Yeah.
I'll try to remember. It was part of my hip hop set back then. But yeah, I remember the song, and I basically established my why when I danced with Shane during that time. And my why is, if I can make people dance together, or make
Nice.
people fall in love on the dance
On the
floor,
dance floor.
I have done my job. And I did that in one of the gigs in level 41, where I was the highlight, and I saw two kids making out
So
in one of the
one
gigs,
of the
and I
gigs.
was like, oh man,
That's the
that's
return right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really special. But yeah, going back to my point, yeah. So also probably an advice to the kids out there who's listening to this, or for anyone who's single and looking for love, quote unquote, how cheesy that might sound, but yes, love comes to you when you least expect it. That has been that mentality made wonders for me.
True that. True that.
Yeah. Cool. Wow.
Look, I just I'm glad that we got that out of the way, which is
That's a weird one.
it's just yeah, this is like not unhinged, but this can be like we could easily talk about relationships on a separate
Yeah.
separate
You
podcast.
know what I
You want to do that? You want to do that?
yeah, yeah,
someday?
of course. You know what I really
Can we call them funny names?
what do you mean funny names?
Like we can't name our exes, obviously. That's I
Well, I mean,
look, if you're seeing this podcast for the first time and you know you're one of my exes, feel free to comment if you'd like to be
no, I don't,
called in.
I don't
Nah,
think it'll be.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't name names because obviously people have moved on with
Yes.
their relationship. I mean,
Correct.
for my case, Shane knows every single one of
Yeah.
my ex. She's even very close friend with one of my exes,
Yeah.
which is funny and good
odd,
at the same time because that there are no secrets basically
Yeah.
between us on that side of life basically.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, right on time.
We're on time?
Yeah, 10 p.m.
Perfect.
Yeah, you mentioned something before we end. It's Thanksgiving this
Yeah.
Friday, is it?
It is. It is. Things that you're thankful for.
Yeah. I usually do this exercise every morning. Cool. Let's start with 3.
Yeah,
I'll go
let's do three.
first.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for the podcast because it also takes my mind off the stress at work and really looking forward to whatever topics that we talk about.
Yeah.
I'm also thankful for the latest module grade that I got, which I was really surprised because I never expected I would have I wouldn't say a mediocre grade, but above average grade. Although I really spent less time on that. It was corporate finance,
Okay.
the least subject that I like.
Least liked.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I got a good grade out of it, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm also thankful for what else? Oh yeah, I'm thankful for that. The fact that I lost 1 kg in a week because of my braces.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm now way.
You weigh a kilogram less.
Yeah, I weigh a kilogram less, and I'm now back to my ideal weight. I've been struggling to lose 2 kgs just to be at my ideal weight, so I'm now there. So
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that.
That's good.
How about you?
That's your top 3. Mine, just right off the bat, I'm just thankful to be, in this, obviously in the UAE, it's such a crazy climate now in terms of like in this industry that I'm working in. I'm just thankful that I'm given multiple options just to operate, within the realm of the business. My principal has full faith on, what I can, what I can give on the table, which is really impressive because I don't know how long that will take me, but it's a lot of like room to operate, which it's quite intimidating, but you know that you just have to do it. And obviously now I'm so thankful also that my wife is in the same realm. I mean, she's sharing the same, she's faced with the same issues, same problems, because she's now, really, she's managing her own company, and I'm really thankful that she's put herself in that, in a very desirable position also. I'm thankful for getting my thank for having my mom get back on track. I mean, she's been in a few years back. She was in a bit of a funk after retiring and whatnot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Lutz is back. I had a conversation with her when I was at the consulate, and I told her, "Hey, ma, we just got approval for like bring people in," and she's like, "Very nice. Thank you. That's very good. You did it." I said, and then like, yeah, I'm thankful you kept interceding for me. I'm like, yeah, you look. The only thing I can do is just pray for you, man. So I'm glad that she's Lutz, and I'm thankful for my bros also for just like keeping her sane,
Yeah.
at least for time being. And then the third one would be same like you. I haven't tried hard enough, but again, I keep losing weight. It's not the
That's a good
braces,
sign.
but I think it's just I've been looking forward to just being able to not do the crazy things that I used to do before and lose control, like
Yeah.
eating and
Yeah.
whatnot. But I've sort of found my way around it, which is, things that I'm really thankful for because it's keeping me sane and keeping me grounded. Like this podcast, I was like, just be 7 p.m. already because I need to leave and, I've got
Sure.
to do this. So definitely also, if I had a fourth one, I'm thankful for this podcast.
Cool. Great way to.
How was your evening so far? Did it pan out the way you expected?
Yes. So the reason that Mike is asking me that is because before the podcast, what I told them was to go into this episode with an open mind and open structure and
Yeah.
see where the conversation goes
And where it takes us.
where it takes us. And I kind of expected exactly how it went.
Yep.
Obviously we still have a lot of things to learn and to improve, but yeah, I'm very happy that we got through this episode without preparing any main theme
Yeah.
for the night basically. But
Yeah, which is how we thought of like we approached a few of our episodes that way, like a
Yeah.
majority of our episodes, and then I'm just glad that we kind of did this together.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I mean, obviously, you can only talk so much nostalgia,
Yeah, yeah,
and eventually you'll run out of topics regarding the past, and you'll really have to touch on what is happening now and
they're relevant topics for the now. Correct.
exactly. So, as much as we are now in episode 6, we will have a learning curve on how to
Approach is going forward.
approach it and structure the topics moving forward. So yeah, cool. So thank you very much, guys, again for tuning in.
Thanks.
This has been episode 6 of Foodhaus Podcast, and this has been your host Dave Fuentes.
And your other host, Mike Rodriguez.
All right, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Ciao.
Ikaw lang at wala